How's it going, disc golf athletes? Seth Muncie here, founder of Disc Golf Strong. In this video, we're going to talk about a badminton racket and how, as a disc golfer, you can use it to lower your injury risk and improve your performance on the disc golf course. At the end of this video, stay tuned. I'm going to talk about how I choose rackets, why maybe I don't use some other tools, why this is probably like my best solution for this exercise, for this warm-up drill. So real quick, I started using the badminton racket 2017, end of 2017, working with a player on tour, Nate Sexton. We were rehabbing his shoulder the off season, and coming into the season, we wanted to test his shoulder, one to progressively check on it so he could check in, how's it feeling, doing the forehand as he was headed into the tournament, and also confidence levels to really help him feel confident that he could put as much stress on his shoulder as he needed to play. So it worked really well. We've been using it ever since. A lot of players use it. Some of them have one for their own personal use. They keep in their car for practice rounds, for field work sessions, and so you could also do that as well. All right, let's jump into it. So first big thing is when I'm using the racket, I'm not trying to necessarily mimic my technique, my throwing technique, okay? This is more to globally warm up the tissues of the body, to think about, get the brain and the body and the nervous system thinking how to, load and unload in a rotational pattern, put some low load repetitive stress on the different tissues like the shoulder, the elbow, the wrist, the hips, so get the core engaged. So there's a lot of really good benefits to using a badminton racket. So when I'm here and I'm going just to a backhand, I'm just gonna come through, I'm gonna get some rotation through my upper back, and then I'm gonna come through just like I'm throwing a disc. It's not really much different. Like I said, while I'm not trying to mimic my technique necessarily, it's going to look generally the same, okay? So I just rotate, come through, okay? And what I do is I have my players start about 10% speed intensity of what their normal throw would be, okay? And I have them do that for a couple swings. So I'm just here and I'm just putting stress, just low tension stress on everything. Like I said, warming up the rotational pattern, get the brain kind of warmed up, the nervous system warmed up. After a few swings, then I'll tell the athletes, hey, bump it up 20%. So they start speeding it up a little bit, right? Okay? Now I say, okay, whenever you feel, let's go to 30%. All right, and so again, it's just a way to warm everything up where, one, I'm not trying to throw discs and then go collect them and come back. I can just jump right wherever I'm at, jump out of the car, do my regular warm up, and then add this as that kind of last piece of the warm up. I don't go over about 80% backhand and don't go over about 60% forehand. Not that you can't go a little more than that, but there's not really much reason to go more than that. So another thing to think about with the racket is how it can help is that you're listening for the swoosh too, okay? So Rick Iwasaki did a little video for me one time where he was talking about when he would feel like if he was just releasing too early, then he would come take the racket, and when he would come through, he could hear that swoosh. And I actually tell a lot of new players to, when they're using the racket, to listen for that swoosh. So if I'm here and the swoosh is out here in front of me, I can hear that audible swoosh. I know that I'm probably arming it, okay? And I'm not getting that release point where I want it. But if I'm here and I hear the swoosh there, I know that I'm using more of my lower body and rotating through the body, and then I'm getting the swoosh there. Let's go to forehand, okay? Here, right? Nice and easy. Loading everything up, loading the elbow, loading the shoulder, right? Not putting a ton of stress on it. I'm checking in. So I can go, okay, how does that feel? If I had a shoulder thing going on, I can go, okay, how does this feel right now? So I'm warming it up progressively, and I'm checking in on it so I can get my confidence levels up, all right? And get the wrist, and you can hear the swoosh. If I'm here, right, swoosh there versus swoosh there, right? And I just tell new players and others that that one thing they can do is just get a lot of reps, like especially say during the off season, you're in your house, right? You can do it in your living room, in your garage, where you're just coming through and you're just getting the body thinking rotationally. Lefty, right? people don't like to throw lefty. They're like, oh, I don't feel good lefty. But if you put a racket in your hand and you're not really, I don't have ego, right? If I put a disc in my hand, now I got ego in my hand. I'm thinking, man, that didn't go where I wanted to go. It wasn't on the line I wanted. But if I'm just doing this, now my brain is just starting to put pieces together of, oh, Seth is rotating this way. He's loading, he's coiling. Now he's uncoiling, he's unloading this, right? He's getting that weight shift. So there's so many positive benefits for that as well if you're gonna throw lefty. All right, so there's a lot of other benefits to the racket. That's just a few of them. I told you I was gonna end here with why I choose the racket and what to choose from. And really, there's not much to really have to talk about with how to choose a racket. It doesn't need to be heavy. You can get these at Play It Again Sports, things like that. It doesn't have to be expensive. There's not a very particular one. I will kind of look at how this just feels in my hand, the grip. If it's all like coming off and stuff, it's just gonna feel weird in your hand. So I like to just make sure that the tape feels good in my hand. Again, the weight, not big of an issue. Now, other tools, like let's say a tennis racket is just gonna be too heavy. This is light enough to where it doesn't really mess anything up. I get that loading on my body and on my wrist and my hand and everything, but I'm not getting it where a tennis racket would be way too heavy. And then if I'm doing a forehand, tennis racket, other tools, it's just a lot harder to do that. Tennis racket, you can do it, but you're just not gonna, it's gonna be a different swing, right? It's gonna be a different stroke than with a badminton racket this way, right? So that's a couple things. This video could be much longer. There are so many benefits to it. Already went long enough, but hopefully that you enjoy it and you can get out, get a racket, start using it yourself. If you got any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to us. Check us out at discgolfstrong.com. Have a great day and go train Disc Golf Strong.